Hi, welcome to Hot Topics Live, the show, the podcast. I'm Kia, and today I have with me one of my most favorite people ever. His name is Simon. He is the host of Taxi Chronicles UK and one of the amazing co-hosts of Podcasters Unleashed. So if you have seen our special episode of our Podcasters Unleashed series special with all of the hosts of the show on the panel, then you know how amazing Simon is. Okay, if you haven't seen it, then you can go to our Facebook page or our new YouTube channel and check out that episode. So while you're on our YouTube channel, subscribe, share, like, show some love. We are trying to get to 100 subscribers. So it would be amazing if you would go and subscribe on our YouTube channel. You can find the link to that on my Instagram page at Creativity and or at Hot Topics the podcast in the bio, and you can find the link very easily to our YouTube channel. So check it out. Simon, honey, how are you?
I'm okay, thanks, Kia. Just, it's quite hot here right now. It's summertime. So I've got the fan going on full blast, but everything's good. Just been driving around, picking up people and interviewing them as I do. I'm on 500 episodes now, so I'm very happy about that.
Holy crap, that's exciting news. And it's such a good show. Like, listen, if you enjoy conversations, like peeping in on a conversation with a stranger, this is the show for you, because literally he picks up passengers and has a podcast with them. And it's so, so cool. By the way, hi, George. Hi, sweetie. And hi, Angeline. Good to see you. I'm glad you could make it. Anyway, so tell me, what has been some of the most exciting episodes?
You know what? I get asked that all the time, and I think it's more about interesting. You've got the true life elements, and then you've also got people who have amazing jobs or done interesting things. So, and you've got the humor. But in answer to that, it's a bit of a hard one. But there's one that involved basically, you've got Domino's Pizza.
Mm-hmm.
And there's a guy we also have a company called Tesco here, which is a supermarket company. And he was driving, he'd been driving for Tesco delivering. And he's complaining he broke down. And then he actually turned around and said, it's not like as bad as working for Domino's Pizza. And I said, what do you mean? He said, well, when he's driving the motorbikes to deliver, Domino's didn't look after their vehicle. So he complained to the boss that the brakes aren't working. The boss said, don't worry, just brake early. And it was raining that night and he broke, but he didn't brake in time and he hit back into the back of a Lamborghini. So I laughed. So he went and turned around and said, it's not funny, stop laughing. He goes, and the thing about it, when I told the boss just asked me, did I deliver the pizza?
Oh, poor guy.
So you get funny stories like that, but then you get real serious stories where like a lady was diagnosed with breast cancer and she did the whole spell from when the diagnosis to the operation to the after the recovery process. And she really poured her heart out. The average episodes are 5 to 20 minutes, but that interview went on for 40 minutes, obviously. Because she's pouring her heart out, I can't say the ride's finished, love. If you want to get out, please. You've just got to let her do it time. But there's hundreds and hundreds of stories of different genres and different topics. There's something for everybody. How's your podcast been going?
Oh, the Female Veterans Podcast. Well, if you know me, you know I'm the host of the Female Veterans Podcast, the upcoming series Women Warrior Stories, and success coach at London Real Academy. And the podcast is going really well. This month, I took a little bit of a break, but I'm going to ramp up. I don't like to do less than 2 episodes in a month. So I'm going to ramp up next week and drop a bunch of episodes. But I had a lot going on with coaching at the DeFi Academy at London Real. So, and going through that process and learning that new course, and just so that I can give the best experience to the students. So it was a lot. But the Female Veterans Podcast just turned 2, and we're poised to do some big things in the future. There's a book coming of female veteran stories that I'm putting together. And also there is a documentary that I'm just starting the process on, and I'm going to be looking for sponsorship for that really soon. And that's about a really powerful group of veterans, both female and male veterans. But the main topic is about these advocates for the 6888, which was an all African American battalion in World War II, females. And their story was being lost to history. So they had these advocates that really started championing them and bringing their story to the forefront. And now they're up for the Congressional Gold Medal for the second time. The first time, they did not get all the votes they needed in the House of Representatives. So this time, we're really got our fingers crossed that they will receive this highest honor that they can get. But the documentary is about chronicling that sort of story a bit. So I'm really working hard on that. It's my first time, and I'm excited to just really highlight some amazing people who are doing great things for these women who are now, I think there's 5 of them left out of the 855 women. So it'd be amazing for them to be alive when they receive this honor.
It could be a female band of brothers. Are they infantry regiment, or what were they?
They were a support unit. They were a battalion what they did was male. So you might not think that deserves the Congressional Medal of Honor, but when you think about 1945 and the fact that the male was so important, and they went over to England, they even got chased by a Nazi submarine on their way. And they made it to England, and they had 2 years of backlogged mail to sort out and clear out. And they were given 6 months to do it in. And I mean, I'm talking drill halls, and because you're a vet too, drill halls full of mail, floor to ceiling, like rotten food, like everything. And the crazy thing about it is they used to write just the name of the person in United States Army, or the serial number for the soldier on the front of the envelope. So if there was I believe it's 17,000 John Smiths at the time, and they had to figure out who that mail went to and make sure it got to them, and then to locate them. And if they found out that they were deceased, they would contact the family. So it was a really, really big job. And they did it so well. And there's so much more to the story that I could take up this whole hour talking about it. But you will have to, I would recommend, there's a documentary called The 6888. So you can check that out. It's by Lincoln Penny Films. And then my documentary will be coming out hopefully in about a year, a little over a year. And it will tell like the second part of the story, I think, the more recent part of the story, about getting them awarded and all of the honors they received in the last like 10, 15 years, maybe almost 25 years. They've been being honored here and there, little by little. Yeah.
Okay, that sounds really good. Yes, I can't wait for the movie to come out and the book.
Yeah, hopefully the book will be available for pre-orders by November. So I'm working hard to get that put together. And it's a bunch of amazing women that I met through my podcast, and they're going to share their story in the book. So it's a bunch of us who are, and I am going to for the first time share a bit of my active duty military story in the book as well. So yeah, that's what I've been up to.
That's good.
So you know what? We have a really incredible guest, and his name is Daniel Svec. He has done something with his life that I think is so, so beautiful and amazing. He created something called the Art of Compassing. And if you've been watching Hot Topics for a while, you may remember that he has an episode from last summer And if you haven't, then you can go to our Facebook page and scroll back through the episodes and you can find it. And I think you can find this one on our YouTube page, our YouTube channel too. Not every episode made it to the YouTube channel, so you might want to check our Facebook page too if you can't find, if you want to look for more episodes of Hot Topics because you're enjoying them, then check out our Facebook page at Hot Topics Lives Chat. You can find it that way, or you can just search Hot Topics Live and we'll come up. So shall we bring him on, Simon, do you think?
Yes, we should. Yeah,
we should. All right, let's do it. Hi, sweetie.
Hey there.
Hi, Daniel.
Nice to see you, Simon. Nice to see you, Kia.
It is
Good
wonderful
to see you too, Daniel.
Yeah. So Daniel, before we get started, tell me, where are you and what time is it now?
I'm in the magical city of Prague in Czech Republic, and it is almost 9:30 p.m.
Oh, well, thank you for joining us. It's a bit late. It is 12:22 p.m. where I am. And how about you, Simon?
It's, sorry, it's 8:23 where I am. Sorry, I had to dip down to look at the phone. I had to look at the time. It's 8:23 in the evening or at night, depending.
And where are you, Simon?
I'm in London, England, southwest London. Yeah, so I'm not too far from you, Daniel. Well, closer to you than I am to Keir.
Yeah.
Yes, that's true. I am on the West Coast of the United States. And as you can see, Hot Topics Live, we always say we're a global show. This is why. This is why, because we've got Prague in the house, we've got London, and we've got Portland, Oregon, representing on the West Coast of the US. So let's change up the view so we can see more of what Daniel's got behind him, because I know how awesome it is. And if you've seen his previous episode, you do too. So let's remind people who haven't seen it, what is behind you there, Daniel?
Well, behind me, we have the, as I like to call it, the amazing pulley system. And the point of the pulley system is to explain very simplistically and clearly and visually the utmost importance of compassion in our lives. After many years of assisting in therapy centers and translating group therapies and traveling the world and just observing and observing, it came to a head and a wonderful eureka moment, and everything fell into place. And life does not have to be difficult. This circus that we are partaking in and all the ways we're trying to tame the circus, most of the time is just damage control. But we can get to the source of things, and the source of healing is through compassion. And that is what this will help to explain. I'll get to it in just a moment. But for those that didn't see the previous episode, very quickly, why am I talking about compassion? Isn't it just some sort of hippy-dippy notion? There's a lot of, crystals and angels and all these things. No, this is beautifully, scientifically, and without a doubt, replicatably proven to be just, you could call it a miracle, but it's not a miracle, it's science. So let me get into it. Compassion, as I said, is not just some hippy-dippy phrase. Compassion is a word from Latin, back when words actually meant something. We've forgotten the meaning of words over time. And compassion is made up of two parts. Calm means together. Passion, oh, he kissed her passionately. My passion is playing guitar. Wonderful feelings of love and fiery spice of life types of feelings. But also passion means suffering and pain. So you might be thinking, wait a second, I didn't know that passion also means suffering and pain. Well, that's okay. I didn't know this until I was 33 and the Passion of Christ from Mel Gibson came out, and I was like, what? Getting nailed to the cross was Jesus's passion? That's a little twisted. No, because passion also means suffering and pain. So passion, the definition of passion, are intense emotions. So intense that you can barely hold them in, or you can't hold them in. So the together sharing of intense emotions. But here's the next step, important step. The word isn't just some empty word. It's not just a feeling. It's not a describing word. It is an instruction manual. Because within this part here, we have the word pass, and that means to go, to pass through. So the hidden instructions in this magical word. What is compassion? It means to pass through intense emotion together. And when we pass through intense emotion together with compassion, by compassing, that's why my course is called Art of Compassing. I've made a verb out of it. When you actively learn to use your innate ability of compassion by passing through intense emotions together, you create quality connection. And that brings me to the wall. So compassion equals connection. And connection is scientifically proven without a doubt to affect two key hormones in all mammals. And we're mammals too, so it affects us as well. And I don't know if you guys will be able to see it, but the two hormones that compassion and compassionate connection affects are dopamine and cortisol. When we have compassion, when there's a high level of compassion and connection, our dopamine levels are high, and we're not stressed out. We're connected. We have somebody to help us get through hard times, so our cortisol levels drop, and that is amazing. Now, unfortunately, a lot of times we don't experience the right kind of true, real quality connection. And when compassion and connection drops, dopamine levels drop and cortisol levels rise. Now, why is that important? Because high levels of cortisol affect the strength of our immunity, the strength of our organism. When we have high stress levels, cell regeneration and maintenance of the body goes down, leading to a lot of illnesses. When dopamine levels are down, let me just ask for a moment. Do you guys know what dopamine is good for? Kia or Simon?
Making you feel good.
Kia took the words out of my mouth. I was going to say, yeah, making you feel good, giving you inspiration, you could say, from the feelings of good. There's probably a lot of roll-on effects that you're going to get from dopamine.
So I thank you for at least knowing that dopamine exists, and that it's roughly a yes. I see somebody saying sleeping. Yes. Well, dopamine not only is the feel-good hormone, but dopamine affects and takes care of our energy levels, our motivation, our attention. But dopamine does so much more. As mentioned, it takes care of the quality of our sleep, liver and kidney function, heart function. The list is really, really long. So many biologically important functions are either under the regulation of dopamine or highly assisted by dopamine. And one of the huge ones is brain function. I like to think of it. It's like when you put motor oil, in the motor, and then everything is working nice and smoothly. When we have low dopamine, we can't think. We can't even, let's say, process difficult things, etc. So dopamine, I highly recommend everybody just Google Wikipedia dopamine and everything that dopamine does, because it is maybe even more important for our survival than food. All right, Daniel, are you crazy? Where did you come up with that?
Tell us.
Well, the amazing Dr. Gabor Mate, he's written great books. Check it out, get his books. And he's pulled together over his 50-year career so many amazing experiments. And though he is a classically trained doctor, Western medicine, he's also very open-minded. So he was able to get out of that narrow view, look at the wide view, piece this all together. And one of the amazing experiments he mentions is when scientists disconnected the dopamine receptors in a mouse's brain, they performed the following experiment. They had the mouse, it was otherwise completely healthy. The only thing, as I'll, just to remind you, dopamine receptors were disconnected, so dopamine was out of the picture. When they put a piece of food directly to the mouse's mouth, she ate, everything was fine. When they put the food a couple, inches away, I don't know, maybe 50, 100 centimeters away, there was no obstruction from the food. The mouse was not tied down. 5 hours went by, 10 hours went by, 15 hours went by. The mouse had to be hungry, right? But it didn't go eat because the reward of that feel-good dopamine was missing. So scientists concluded, well, not even hunger by itself is strong enough to motivate physical survival. That means when there's no dopamine, or when dopamine is really low, it is physically and biologically debilitating and life-threatening. So
to jump in there, sorry, Daniel, to interrupt there. I'm thinking of when you're doing something you really like, shopping or whatever, you can go the whole day and forget to eat.
Yep.
And I would assume that would be on the same basis, that because you're happy and your dopamine things are high, and I'm going to spend this money or do what I'm doing, you forget to eat. And then at the end of the day, think, do I need to eat? I'm not really hungry. I could go on, and that kind of thing.
You're right, and I'll explain this phenomenon in just a moment, and remind me if I don't get back to it. But dopamine. So dopamine is really key. When dopamine levels are low, it is life-threatening. When cortisol levels are high, it is life-threatening to our biological body. Now, our bodies are very smart. They do a lot of things automatically without our knowledge. And the body...
Daniel,
yes?
Before you go on, I have a question about cortisol.
Yes.
So you said that cortisol is dangerous to our physical body, right? Mm-hmm. And what are some of the dangerous effects of cortisol?
So I would like to be fair to cortisol and start out by saying that cortisol is a really important hormone, and it helps us in dangerous situations. When many thousands of years ago, or some wild animal would jump out at our great grandfathers, the stress response and cortisol release would be a really big help, because the cortisol sends energy to your arms, to your legs, to your muscles, and allows you to focus. And that strength in the arms and legs would allow our great-great-grandfather to fight off the lion or to run away. Now, so thank you, cortisol, but here's the question. I said that cortisol sends energy to the arms and legs and muscles. Where does that energy come from? Any idea?
Your gut.
Right. Yes. So cortisol, in order to, get energy somewhere, it has to allocate it from somewhere. It's not just, getting energy from thin air, kind of like the U.S. government is getting money out of thin air. You can't just print extra energy, right? That one's for you. That was the
shade of it all. The shade.
Yes. So bodily energy has to be backed by some sort of gold standard, and that gold standard is your full body energy. And so in those moments, the body shuts off important functions. So a lot of digestion. If you're getting chased by a lion, don't need to digest, not a priority. So digestion gets turned off. Cell regeneration gets turned off. Cell maintenance of the body gets turned off. And also what is very key, higher brain functions get turned off. So all this gets turned off, and your muscles turn on. You take care of what's needed, and you're golden. But in our day and age, where we're constantly under stress and we don't even know about it, we are running with a depleted energy system in not only our internal organs. We're not able to think rationally as well. And there's a baby that feels abandoned in there. There's some minutes and crying because she's mom, so he doesn't cry anymore. Yes, and this brings me to the point of the cortisol and the body and how important and intelligent the body is. Now, when our cells are not being maintained and our brain function isn't working and our internal organs aren't functioning as they should, that again brings on a very detrimental state to the body. Now, the body, again, just like in the case of low dopamine, the body, when it senses high cortisol levels, when we're adults, what we can do, we can run away or tell a person to shut up or leave and get rid of the stressor somehow. But if you're a baby, you can't. And when you can't get rid of it, get rid of the stressor physically, the body, oh my God, I need to lower the cortisol levels because I'm marinating in this poison. It's poison. It's toxic. So it shuts off the awareness, kind of like out of sight, out of mind. It's an adaptation. And that adaptation can be called disconnection. So when we're disconnected, when we're crying, when we're in stress, cortisol goes up, the strength of our organism goes down, immunity goes down, and at a certain point, it hits a trigger, and the adaptation of disconnection kicks in. And when that kicks in, it's like there's bad stuff happening in the world, and you see it on the TV, but it's like, oh, I had too much stress today at work. I can't handle this anymore. So you turn off the TV. You disconnect from reality. So our brains disconnect from reality, and that disconnection gives us the impression that the stressor is gone. Now, the stressor is still there, but that adaptation in that moment is a survival mechanism that helps the body, continue to function and function slightly better. So adaptation kicks in, and cortisol levels go slightly down, and the strength of our organism can kind of go up. Now, when disconnection kicks in, it's not like suddenly everything is completely perfect. It's just like a halfway solution for immediate survival. Now, so maybe the baby who's crying and the levels of cortisol go up, the body realizes, oh, we've got too much cortisol, and it starts shutting off parts of the brain. Oh, okay, yep, shut this part off. Never mind, forget that you're here alone. Okay, so helps in the moment, but what is the cost? The adaptation is our friend in the moment, but as Dr. Gabor Mate says, the adaptation in the long term leads to severe costs of learning. Our ability to learn drops, our health drops, we're more prone to chronic illnesses, and of course relationships also suffer from these. So the adaptation helps in the short term, but leads to external expression. I call them external expressions. And let me see, I'll have to move this just slightly. So we'll start again. Compassion connection drops. Cortisol starts going down. Cortisol goes up, strength of organism goes down. Adaptation has to kick in, shuts off brain function, et cetera, we don't want to see, we don't want to feel. And what is dropping on, as this connection turns on, what's dropping at that very end? The external expression, what drops due to that adaptation. Sensitivity drops, intelligence drops, and our ability to react adequately drops.
Wow, that is serious.
That is super serial. for all you South Park fans. Now, what does it mean when someone has low intelligence? That's a nice diplomatic way of expressing somebody who's kind of dumb, right? We call somebody an idiot, but here we go, idiot. Idiot is yeah.
Sorry, Daniel. Are we referring to intelligence or knowledge? Because they're different things.
Talking on the biological level of intelligence. Thanks for bringing that up. If you want to know intelligence, here's another nifty little thing. Intelligence. Etymologically,
he's got a card for everything.
Damn near everything. So
I love
intelligence
that.
I like it too. I like it too.
It's made of two parts. Intel, as in the intellect, which is the left brain function. Gense, the generative, caring, intuitive, motherly, creative. So intel, left brain, generative, creative, right brain. And only when you have both left and right brain hemispheres functioning in equilibrium can you truly be intelligent. So many people are not physically, biologically intelligent because, as I said, when we have that high cortisol level, the brain protects us by disconnecting and parts of our brain shuts off. And why is this super important? Especially in childhood, in those first 3 years when our brains are developing, because we're born with our brain only 10% of the way developed when we're born. The rest happens after birth. So the brain develops based on its surroundings. And if those surroundings are stressful, lacking, and unstable, that is a stressor, turns on that disconnection, that adaptation to protect itself, shuts off parts of the brain, and what is not stimulated, especially in childhood, does not develop strong neural circuits. So if you're shutting off parts of the brain so you don't hear and see and feel that stress, those parts of the brain, mainly the neocortex, the ability to rationally think and not be fooled by all the lies the media are telling you. So sorry. That part of the brain is not stimulated, and what is not stimulated does not develop. And that, my friends, is why it's super damn important to make sure we keep our stress levels down. Why do we go to, yoga? Yeah, you feel better when you're not stressed, but your brain will start turning on more, et cetera, et cetera. And especially...
I have a question.
Yes?
Yeah.
I do, before you continue,
Yes.
so I don't forget it. Okay, all right. So what this could mean, if I'm understanding correctly, is that, say, for example, you're a child who grew up in a dysfunctional family where there was a lot of traumas and abuse, and you develop some mechanisms to protect yourself in order to survive that situation, right?
Yes.
Is this why they say that you black out periods of time in your life, or certain memories when you're living through it, like you sort of shut down parts of your brain so that you're not affected by those high levels of stress that occur during a traumatic situation like that?
Yes. It's I give an example. Let's say nobody ever taught you to ride a bicycle. Maybe you tried it once and you fell on your face, scraped, you experienced physical trauma, and nobody taught you how, because nobody taught you. And if nobody taught you how to deal with stressful situation, how to deal with emotions, that means you ended up having high cortisol levels. That cortisol is just as damaging to the body as, breaking your arm, scraping your elbow, falling off that bike. And of course, if somebody, has a good idea, it's a nice sunny day, you want to go on a bike ride, you're going to be like, no, because you remember that pain. And so if there's a memory, that caused you physical trauma through high cortisol levels, it's important it's not just some liquid. It's turning off your body. Your cells will start deteriorating. Your tissue starts, falling apart. That is maybe even worse physical trauma than falling off a bike. And your body's like, oh, I don't want to know about it. So it shuts off, doesn't want to relive it. Also because of the fact, and this is why art of compassing is important, because nobody taught you how to process those emotions. Nobody walked through your emotions. Nobody held your emotions. If you remember, as I said, compassion means to pass through intense emotions together. When you pass through, by passing through intense emotions, it means, let's say a child has some fear. Oh, something very simple. Boom, 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 boom. Window, loud noise at the window. Little child is scared. It doesn't know what's going on. Cortisol levels go up. So fear, there's the intense emotion. But the adult can come and say, hey, it's all right. Look, it's just the wind. The wind is knocking a branch into the window. Ah, I see. That's what's happening. My fear was related to that. Now I understand where it comes from. You're educated about it, passing through. So when we don't have somebody to teach us about our emotions, and this was a very logical one, the window, but there's a lot of gentle little fears and gentle little, let's say, envious feelings or love and hate towards younger siblings. When a child is born and has, your firstborn child, you have all that love and attention from your parents, and then next kid is born and you love the kid, it's your little brother, but at the same time you're afraid you're going to lose that attention because you're going to get compromised on that connection from your parents. So there's all these little gentle emotions that we need to understand and learn how to process emotions, to work with it, to, just like riding a bike, there's things you need to know, and working with emotions is just as important. So my big mission, I would say, the other thing, the point of art of compassing is to, step one, understand how important connection is, and you connect through understanding and being with emotions. Mm-hmm. In part two, we talk about exactly what that compassionate behavior is, what type of behavior leads to brain development. And the whole overarching theme, I would say, is become masters in the most quickest, fastest, direct, fast track way of emotional intelligence. Understand that emotions are super key. That is the flow of the gods flowing through us. I call it,
Daniel.
Yeah, sorry. Yep, I'll go back to it.
Just to jump in there, it's interesting how Keir interpreted what you just said, because I interpreted it slightly different. I interpreted it like you've got parents who are very protective of their child and they don't let them have any kind of trauma. So because they don't experience that, they kind of become numb to things and don't really know how to deal with it. It's like, let's say, where I come from, the council estate kid, which is like a project kid, is much more streetwise than a kid who's grown up in the suburban area, because mummy's looked after them and made their dinners and done everything, where the council estate kid has to sort out things for themselves. Do you see what I mean?
Yeah, that's a good different perspective, I think. Two sides of the coin there, Simon.
Yeah. Very nicely put. And it's wonderful to see. And almost everything in life, we're foolish, us humans. We either just like with the, brain, we're either left brain hemisphere imbalance or right brain hemisphere imbalance. We always cling to one or the other. And so the key is to find that nice middle ground, and that requires good brain health. And to have good brain health, the brain has to allow itself to be stimulated and not be turning off. So first you create a compassionate connection, a safe harbor. Some people call it holding space. I like to think of it as a safe harbor. Somebody comes in, with their pirate ship all beat up, and they need a safe harbor. You can't start cleaning up the inside of the deck, and you can't start fixing the holes in a storm. You need a place to unpack where it's safe. And when a person feels safety and non-judgment and love and connection, then they can start opening these things up. They might even be willing to, listen to what you have to say, and will then maybe start going on that seemingly, well, it's not seemingly, it is a very scary trip to go on. And that trip is delve into emotions, allow emotions to be okay, because emotions are powerful. They affect our biology. They hurt. The bad emotions hurt, and when good emotions are not seen, that hurts as well. And that's a really important thing. That's why passing through positive emotions is important too, which a lot of times therapy forgets. It's like, oh, let's fix this problem, let's bring up all that bad stuff. But what lights your fire? When a child, going back to this, it's not just scary things that raise cortisol. Let's say a child has so many questions. What's that, Mom? What's that, Dad? Look what I drew. Hey, wouldn't it be awesome if I could, have a horse that was a rocket ship and I could fly to all, when there's fascination, and when fascination, wonder, curiosity, and joy is not seen, and as I like to say, anchored into the real world, you can only do that so many times until you resign. It's like, oh, hey, Mom, look at what I got. I don't have time. Hey, Mom, look what I got. I don't have time. It hurts. It hurts because that's that flow. It's, oh my God, that gift of, spark of life. And it's natural. If it hurt, it's not reciprocated and it's not seen, this fire. And after a while, children will lose their desire to share. They'll lose their curiosity. That's why we have so many adults that are, don't want to learn. They're not curious because curiosity resulted in a lot of pain, because that curiosity was, as I like to say, not anchored. So all these things are important.
I feel
yes,
that.
Sir.
I feel it.
Just a quick one. You talk about the balance of the brain with the intelligence.
Yes.
Is it possible you can get the perfect balance, and is the balance the same regardless of the gender? Because obviously, in many cases where they say females are more compassionate, more such and such, men are more the opposite. And I would argue there's a balance in our differences, but you're speaking about having that perfect brain balance. So is it the same for both genders? And yeah.
Well, I mean, I don't have any like scientific experiments that I've looked into other than anecdotal, but yeah, I mean, there's obviously just women biologically are the vessel that creates life, so they're more in tune with creating, and they know how much damn work it is, so they're a lot more caring, and they don't want somebody to ruin that miracle that they put so much work into, so they are more caring and compassionate, and making sure that that biological being can flourish. Men have that physical strength to build stuff, and you need some logic and order and discipline. So yes, there is this, relative separation. But I know women that are much more practical than men, and I know a few guys that have that compassion more than some women. And I think any person is able to, at least if nothing else, I don't think it's not necessary to have the perfect balance, but have both sides functioning. Look at a situation holistically, analytically, and also with heart. So you can build those up so that there's a nice cooperation between those two. Let's say, there can be an amazing IT guy and he can program and it's amazing, but stereotypically, if we think of some IT guy, Big Bang Theory, I mean, those guys got girlfriends in the end, but there's that human element missing. And it's like, yeah, I'll let him program my computer, but I don't want to go out with him because he's, completely lost when it comes to kids, or completely lost when it comes to knowing how to kiss me gently and pick up on subtle little hints or whatever. And so that's very left-brained. But one thing I would like to say, whenever we start to, let's say, balance out what's missing, or kind of improve ourselves, we're not going to lose ourselves. A lot of people are like, well, if I undergo this and I, rewire my brain or go undergo these changes, well, then it's not going to be me. I'm not going to be the left brain analytical man. I'm going to be like somewhere in between. And I always say, it's going to be you, only lighter, in that sense that, it's going to be you, only happier. It's going to be you. It's still going to be you. Your personality will not be lost. On the contrary, your personality will shine through in 4K, in 8K. So it's worth going on this trip. You don't have to worry that you're going to suddenly, stop being really logical. That's going to all stay. It's just going to be supplemented and increased because you're also going to have that, let's say, intuitive view on how to take care of things. Same thing goes for artistic, caring people. Well, and well, if I start, developing logical thinking and discipline, well, I don't want to lose my, free-flowing artistic talent. Don't worry, you're not going to lose that. You're not going to lose the intuition that's already given. You have that. But you'll be able to take your intuitive care to another level because you will be able to take that care and give it a form that will be reliable and useful for other people. You can have somebody, he's the most loving guy, but he always shows up at least an hour and a half late. He's so impractical, right? But the hippie dippy type of person. But that loving person, if he shows up on time, is much better than that loving person who might not even show up at all or at 2 hours later, right? So as for that, I think every person can build that up, and I think it's about becoming a holistic human. It's when people asked a similar question before, it's like, maybe you're a woman who's very analytical, maybe you're a guy who's very caring, maybe you're a guy who's it doesn't matter, just let's, see what you're good at, and are you putting it into the service of your tribe? And I think that is very key. And yeah, so that's a kind of I like that thought. It's very, very important, because if you are very caring, but you don't put your beautiful ideas into a form, and it took me a lot of work to take my loving ideas and put them into a way that I can explain it as clearly as possible. So I had to build up my intellectual discipline side. But while I was just feeling everything so nicely, I couldn't put my gift into service. This helped me put my gift into service. And same way, somebody might have really great programming skills, or but if his program does not help a single soul, but if he realizes, hey, I could program the best damn app for single mothers for whatever, maybe time organization or something like that, suddenly, boom, you're working for the tribe. And that's very important, because once you get into the service of the tribe, you're boom, connected. You're increasing connection, and you are in connection. And what's going to happen when you're in connection? Your dopamine levels are going to rise. You're going to start thinking clearer, and it's a snowball effect. You can snowball into amazing heights, just the same way that you can, life can snowball into negative. And so life is an amazing journey, but it's a game which is, it takes no prisoners. If you figure out how to play the game, it'll grow exponentially. If you haven't been given the opportunity to learn some key things about yourself, you can spiral into oblivion in, the worst ways possible. Now, and that is why Art of Compassing is so important to me, because to me, I think this is the instruction manual each human being should have been, should be given, let's say around the age of 13. This is how your body biology works and reacts to connection. And when your body reacts to lack of connection in this way, those adaptations will force you to express yourself externally or have behaviors which are considered wrong or bad or unwanted. And those external expressions, people will say you're bad and you're an idiot, but you're not an idiot. You are an amazing being. You're not thinking well because your body had to protect itself because at some point you didn't get that connection you needed. And and we know how to fix this. We can give you the time, we can give you the assistance, and streamlined quickly. And that's why I've made Art of Compassing as succinct and affordable for teenagers. I've super low prices. I just need to keep the websites running. If somebody wants to pay more, that's fine. But $7, I put the market lucky number 7 for teenagers. I want and so every teenager can learn this and be like, oh, this is how this works. Number 1, they have the knowledge. Number 2, the nice bonus of this, suddenly judgment drops, because you realize any negative behavior I was, angry at myself for were just adaptations, because I didn't get that connection that was needed, because our society has either forgotten or, we're just now realizing it. Who knows? That's up for debate. So that's why this is so important to me. And thanks to my years of experience, and I work with teenagers, they get it right away. They're like, boom, oh, okay. And they don't have to stray off the path for 20 years until they get deep into some, illnesses or a 5th screwed up relationship or drugs or suicide attempts. Why suffer when you can bypass all that through a little bit of knowledge? I think I claim very boldly that series 1 and series 2 of the Art of Compassing, which is about 3.5 hours. The 3.5 hours are the most amazing and informative 3.5 hours ever produced. Ever.
So Daniel, on that note, I've got a couple of questions for you. First one, you know your stuff, and it's very informative. How long have you been doing it? How many years? And as a fellow podcaster myself, what has been the thing that you've learned that you wish you knew when you started?
Ooh, those are 2 good questions.
Let me see. So how long have I been interested in this topic, and how long did it take me to get to this point of aha?
Yeah.
I was interested in how humans tick back in college. I took some psychology classes. It was fine, but it was very intellectual, analytical, and it was missing the heart. It was missing the magic. So I was a little bit disappointed when I came to Europe, because I grew up in America. When I came to Europe, I was lucky enough to run into an amazing woman and became her assistant. And this woman has, in my opinion, the top therapy center in Czech Republic and probably top 3 in Europe, because I've had the opportunity to work and translate for other doctors from Austria and psychologists from Holland, blah blah blah. So I've been around the block in this sense. And Petra Raufarova is amazing, and I spent 13 years assisting and helping her, and I was able to see, I was just counting it, over 600 individual stories, and just sitting, observing, seeing where it all interconnects. And basically it all comes down to, any problems that we have are because we stopped being authentic. We weren't allowed to be authentic. We stopped being authentic because of the pain we experienced when we were authentically expressing our emotions, either positive or negative, whatever. And on top of this, traveled around the world a lot, saw amazing people in the Yucatan Mayans who still grow up in a tribal setting, which is natural for our biological bodies. This family unit is only a couple hundred years old, but our bodies have not evolved to this yet. We're used to living in little groups of 100 to 200 people, and where you grow up as a little child, and there's so many adults that they're always catching all those emotions. And these Mayans, they live like this, and they are so intuitive and in tune and present and calm and beautiful and helpful and not neurotic. So I've seen the physical results of what it's like when you grow up in a tribal setting, which is natural to us, and the people end up having a healthy, brain development because they were in connection during those 3 to 6 years of their life when they were growing up. So the biology has formed well. There's no adaptations. Golden, beautiful people. So traveling around the world helped. And I have to admit, a big helper was plant medicine. I think I wouldn't be where I am without very intentional and well thought out two important life-changing experiences on psilocybin. Not only did it help me get answers to what I needed, but psilocybin in itself, it helps your neural connections fire up, light up, new connections are made. So you're going to, it helps to kind of kickstart those neurons that had to kind of turn off during development. So thank you, mushrooms, because I wouldn't be here, I think, without you. So it's been, let's say, a 20-year journey, and I've taken all this information, boiled it down over the years, and this is my, piece de resistance, and I'll be doing this till the day I die because I see how well it works. I know how it's helped me, how it's helping others. So that's what I would say. It was 20 years of hard work, standing on the shoulders of giants. So many other great people, standing on Petra's shoulders, Gabor Mate, Kerwin Ray, Mark Passio, all these great, amazing people. And I've used my gift of being a teacher and learning how to give and transfer information in a way that's kind of fun, that's kind of lively, that has that spark, and that is authentic, because we crave authenticity. And children, they can tell when something's not authentic. And I love working with children. So to present it in a way that's kind of fun, we've got the monkeys here, and we've got we've got a little bit of we got some extreme sports here, right? So you have a little bit of fun with that. Make it palatable, make it fun. Don't make it heavy. Life, can be tough, but let's have fun. Let's go at this with a positive and informed, approach. And to your second question, what I've learned about as a podcaster, I'm still kind of in the beginning. I've had the fortune of, teaching a lot and also presenting. I host, I moderate some live car stunt shows. Good evening, ladies and gentlemen, right? So captivating an audience, that's something that I could, put into this project, and connecting with people. And I guess at this point, I would say my challenge is finding the right kind of person who will help me, let's say, prepare social media things and stuff like that, because I feel I need to be presenting this information. I can't be editing all the time. So I'd say this is the thing. I've been sending out some wishes to run into somebody who will not only have the passion, skill to create something nice, but will also have that feeling, will sense out, what is that good sentence, quote to put into a post, etc., etc. But I'm not in a rush. I've learned to trust the universe and just keep your ear to the ground and wait for that right wave. It will come. And if your intention is clear, then it will come to you. So that's what I've learned. And yeah.
That's amazing. So, we're just about at 1 hour, and I have a couple of questions for you myself, Daniel, before we have to wrap for today. And I do, before I even ask the questions, I want to thank you for giving us this presentation. It never gets old for me. I just always enjoy it so much every single time. It's really informative. And I think even you mentioned children. This is great for teenagers, and I have one, so believe me, honey, I know how great this would be for teenagers. And you made another really good point that I loved about the Mayans and the tribal culture, because this is why they say it takes a village to raise a child. And let me tell you, we just really, I think if we find like mom groups and like groups of other parents that we can form our own tiny little community to help with our children, it just makes parenting so much more enjoyable, so much more fun, less stressful, right? To have that
Mm,
support. And I'm so lucky to have that where I am, especially as a
nice.
single mom now. So it's amazing to just be able to be aware, because if you don't know, you don't know. So once you're aware that this connection and emotional intelligence is so important, and to nurture that and to help develop that in your children, you give them such a better and healthier start to life. And I think as adults, a lot of us didn't get that, and we had to discover it on our path. Kind of like you were saying, maybe you spiraled into things that or into a way of life that you wouldn't have really chosen if you knew better or had learned this earlier. So since there are so many adults that have been going through healing and trying to resolve these issues, and what are some practical steps as adults that we can employ to sort of help ourselves heal if we didn't have this as a young child or a teenager?
So I'd say go to artofcompassing.com and get the series. The series one is only 2 hours and 10 minutes long. You can do 2 hours and 10 minutes, and it's put into 15-minute bits. There's the full instructions of the importance and already a few practical tips before series two comes out. But uh, don't be afraid to do the work. Do the work, study it, and one thing I would say to everybody, and I think it's a little abstract, but it's the truth. You are beautiful. You are an amazing miracle. And any sort of behavior that you're not, let's say proud of, or somebody might shame you for, forget about it. Don't worry about it. All those negative behaviors are simply a result of a few neurons connecting in a way that, a few neurons that had to improvise and connect differently and in a different way than is ideal at some point in your life when your emotions weren't held. And they say every child is beautiful, everybody deserves love. Yes, everybody deserves that love, everybody deserves to be seen, and almost everybody in the Western world didn't. So forgive yourself, just forgive yourself, don't judge yourself. And for every unwanted behavior, every bad behavior, there's a logical reason, and it always, I have never seen it not come down to this. There are, yeah, so forgive yourself, do not judge, learn about this a little bit, praise your emotions, learn to play with your emotions, allow those to flow. Give it, it's not going to, might not be a week or a year, might be 3 years of work, it might be 5, but it's so worth it. And thanks to the amazing scientists and the internet and everybody being able to share, that the scientists who have the intellect and the psychologists and therapists, they have the care, people are starting to connect those two fields. And that is the holistic approach. And thanks to this modern time, we are closer than ever in, at least in the last 200, 300 years, to having the perfect, effective, fastest route to knowing what does our biology good. And it's super simple. Trust me, it is. I always say, if you can understand the importance of how to take care of a plant, give it water, the right amount of sunshine, aerate the ground a few times, and your plant will, for 98% of the times, be healthy. Us humans, we just need somebody there for us when we've got some stress to help us understand what's going on and just be there. We need somebody to experience and enjoy our, as I said before, our passions, our wonder, our curiosity, and if there is an impulse coming out from us, cherish it, let it come out, work on it, and pass through, which means spend time with the intense emotions together with people that you love, and even with yourself. That is the key. Whoever didn't invest in Bitcoin and cryptocurrency, don't worry. The most important currency in the next years will be emotional intelligence, and you will be, king of the world and enjoying life, because life is meant to be amazing. We just need that little instruction manual. That's all. That's all.
Daniel, Diana has a question for you. She says,
Yes.
Daniel, how do you keep your vision when you feel attacked?
Let's see. Is this a question? How do I keep my vision when I feel attacked, or how should a person? Is it a general question? I'll start with myself. I would say not being afraid to make a mistake over many years has allowed me to make mistakes and course correct, and make mistakes and course correct, and work out the system. Hey, try this. Did this work? No, it didn't. Okay, make it better, make it better. And if somebody attacks me, there was a comment. So far, all the feedback has been great. Everybody loves the art of compassing, that it's intriguing and captivating and just the right amount of fun. Blah, 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 blah. Yeah, praise, praise, praise. But there was one lady. I don't know who it was, but I got one little piece of feedback. We're supposed to pay for compassion, right? So like, wait, what's going on? Now you're paying for the knowledge. You also pay for a little bit of a book, and plus it's $7. But if you want, now. If I feel attacked, a person who attacks, somebody who attacks is somebody who means to do harm. And the only person who means to do harm to another is someone who does not feel connected with others. And if you're not connected with others, that means you yourself are disconnected. And that is a state of pain. So if somebody attacks me, I just know, hey, that's somebody who is, in a worse place than I am, and I feel love and compassion for that person, and maybe start a conversation with that person. And so that's the one thing. If someone's attacking, then I know that person, is in a worse place than I am. And number two, many, 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 many years of testing this out and seeing that it works, and it's a gift to be so on such solid ground, because I know it works. I know it works on me. I've tested it on my friends, and they're still alive and they're doing much better. And so when somebody attacks me, I invite them for a conversation, and I can invite them to the conversation because I was going to swear, but I'm not going to swear. I don't know if kids are watching, but I know my stuff. I know my stuff. So that's a great question. So in a general, to answer the question generally, don't worry about it. Don't worry about it. Just keep doing you. People will always attack you. There will always be people who are threatened by, something that you are coming out with. If it's, and if your vision is pure, you cannot lose. And just invite the person for a conversation. And that is a big key to everything. I will give you the time. Let's talk. Let's have a conversation. Let's unfold. Let's unpack those emotions. Let's see what's behind it. Because even an attack there is always a reason for the attack behind. And it's just debugging. You go in just like in a computer program. Let's see where the problem is, and you work your way out from there. So you're welcome, Diana.
Wow, that was incredible. Really, really fun to see, and a lot of really good knowledge. And you definitely answered my questions too. So, Simon, do you have any more questions for Daniel before we part ways for today?
Come on,
I'll
Simon,
just
hit
throw
me.
in,
Your questions are great. So
I'll just
They
throw
are
in
good.
one question, because you're dealing with youth, and we've all been youth ourselves. So, what would you say to your 16-year-old self?
wonderful question. I love that question. And with Steve Fierro, who also was in
I remember
London
Steve.
Academy.
Aw.
Yeah, Steve he's doing great in Singapore. Well, so we talk
Steve.
about putting together short videos and asking adults these, what you would say to a 16-year-old, put that together and put it out there so that 16-year-olds now can hear what, people would say to them, because I think it's very, very important. And so for me, if I put it into 3 words, I would say uh, your intuition, spot on. Spot on is hyphenated. That counts as well. So your intuition, spot on. Trust that inner feeling. Go with your emotions. That if I put it into a short three word advice, and otherwise I would tell my 16-year-old self. I would say, let's see. I would tell him, don't be ashamed of any emotions that you have. Talk about them. Test the waters with adults that you feel safe with. Whoever embraces those emotions and is curious and wants to help you unpack them, be there. Be there with that adult. Whoever might scoff at some emotion, don't waste your time. You will always find an adult, a teacher, someone who will care, and that will lead you to a healthier biological, state, better chemical state of your body, mind, and that eases everything for your future. So embrace those emotions, trust your intuition, and have fun. Damn it! Also, life is about being curious, and embrace your curiosity and wonder, and imagine what if. That's what I would say to my
Okay.
16-year-old self. Mm-hmm.
And Kia's back. I was just going to throw another question, but Kia, you can round up.
No, please go ahead. Something just glitched on
Okay.
my end, but I'm back.
Daniel, what I was going to ask you is, what does the future hold for yourself and the art of compassing?
A blossoming at the rate which will be conducive of not cutting any corners, setting really solid, ground stones to build for years to come. Joy, a shared relief, and a shared harmony, and amazing feedback, and the ability to create new episodes, to say these things in a little different way, and to over time say the same message in so many different shades, because every person is unique, and somebody needs to hear it a little bit more analytically, somebody needs to hear it a little more jovially, somebody needs to hear it very gently and with a loving smile, and somebody needs it to be wild and crazy, and just keep repeating this so that it can get to as many unique ears and unique hearts as possible. And that's my big wish, to have the ability to shoot it in black and white in a parody style, and then do it animated with explosions and stuff, because everybody is on a different frequency, and important messages that are pertinent to every single human being who is a mammal, deserves to be made in a way that every human being can hear it. So that's that.
Beautiful. Diana says, how do you define intuition, Daniel?
Ah, intuition. That's a good question. I would say intuition for me is when a body feeling, when something that my logical brain can't fully logically explain yet, when my brain gets an impulse to start deciphering, like, and over time you will learn what's intuition, what's fear. That's very tricky because sometimes it's it's worries, it's logical, patterns that we keep projecting into our lives, and it's an internal voice, but intuition is also an internal voice. So how do you differentiate? Over time you will learn what that intuition is. Trial and error, play with it. But intuition for me is like a surprise. It's like a gift. It comes with a warm feeling, and it's usually positive. It's usually like, yeah, go to this place right now, or take a step, because, and that really happened. One time I was standing in front of my girlfriend's car, and I just got an intuitive, it just, take a step left. So I took a step left, and boom, she put it into first gear instead of reverse, and she would have slammed me against the garage. So intuition is sometimes really amazing, and it takes time to develop. And if I was to define intuition in a way, I would say a really big help, because I wouldn't figure this stuff out on my own. And the intuition, I would say, comes from sensing vibrations in in your surroundings, and your gut, it picks up on those physical surroundings. It's good to have, all your chakras flowing, if we be a little hippy dippy sounding. Your heart intuition senses, kind of the bigger messages, the universal messages. Your gut will I have a gut feeling about it. Your gut is more kind of in the physical 3D realm, the dirt and the blood and the muscles, and it picks up on, the dangers. Is there a snake or a jaguar there in the Mayan forest, which we wonderfully also experienced when I was there. Mayans were great. Jaguars, got to be a little more careful with them. So you need that intuition, and it's important as I said, with the disconnection, not only disconnects your brain, you also pull in the body feelings, because it's like, if you're growing up in the place. So intuition, gifts from the other intelligent parts of your body, which are already known to have really big clumps of neural cells as well. They call the heart like a second brain. The guts, they have so many, they send so many neurological impulses to the brain as well. So work with all that, and then you're golden. So yep.
Wow, amazing. Well, I think we are a little over time, which is fine because we do what we want here at Hot Topics Live. But I want to say thank you so much for coming and being a guest again, Daniel. Like I said, I love hearing this. Every time I hear it, I just find something more that I can apply in my life and in my relationships with others, my children, my friends, significant others, all of that good stuff. So I really appreciate you. And I thank you again for coming. Simon, do you want to say anything too?
No, it is very informative, very entertaining. I love your charisma, the way you put things across. I see you believe in what you say so much, you tattooed it on your forearm, which is...
yeah.
I love that.
That's good. That's good. It's putting your money where your mouth is, kind of thing. Yeah, and I wish you well in what you're doing. And I've checked out your website, and you've given me food for thought. Much food for thought.
Awesome. So yeah, if it tasted well, then definitely check it out, and you can test your taste with the quizzes that are also included in the series. It's as I mentioned, it's important for us not only to passively learn these things, we have to do the work, be active. So I've given viewers a small chance to be active, not only passively take in this information, they can take quizzes online. They're short, they're painless, and as a reward, they get next episodes, early VIP access to next episodes. So just wanted to say that it's a kind of fun way. If you enjoyed, if you got food for thought, I would love to hear your feedback on the tests to see if they stuck and you can start applying it. So, and it was a pleasure to meet you, Simon. I really appreciate your questions.
Good to meet you
Spot
too,
on
Daniel.
Questions, sir. So very amazing.
Very nice.
And Kia,
Thank you.
it was wonderful to be back on your show. Thank you so much for having me. You heard my wish. It was about 3-4 days ago. I sent out from the heart space. I was like, it'd be so cool to be able to talk to some live people that have an audience. And Kia, hey, you want to be on the show on Wednesday? Boom, awesome. So thanks for using your intuition to pick up on the messages I was sending.
Our frequencies matched, so it worked
Nice.
out. Yeah, I love that. And I'm so happy, of course, to have you here. I know that we can find more information on theartofcompassing.com. We can follow you on Instagram at The Art of Compassing. And I hope everyone goes to do that, because this is really brilliant stuff for yourself, for your children, for loved ones. And I'm so excited that you have a new series coming out, and congratulations on all your hard work. It just always makes me so proud to see my babies thriving. So thank you for coming back to Hot Topics Live. I'm going to put you in the green room now. And if you have time to wait, we'll say a proper goodbye after we wrap the show. Okay?
All right.
It's been an absolute
Thanks, guys.
pleasure.
Thank you.
Thanks.
Well,
So,
Simon,
yeah.
when you think of that.
No, he knows his stuff. He's got a passion. Like I said, he's written it on his arm even for life. It was great, very informative. I love the fact that his aim is for children, that speech measures, and the compassion with the biological and the physics, and it all comes together. And it's something that everybody, as long as you've got your age of understanding, you can apply in your life, which is great.
I agree. I love everything. Like I said, it never gets old for me. It just is such an amazing and important thing to understand about compassion and how you can use it practically in your life, and the effects of lack of emotional connectivity. And that is real talk for every single living being and animal, and probably plant, like really anything that's like living on the earth, right? And the earth itself. So, I mean, there's no end to the importance of compassion and using your brain, like both sides of your brain, and just being intelligent and using that with other people. So I really, really love it. And I'm so happy he had time to come back, and I'm sure he'll be back again. So I love this episode. And speaking of loving this episode, I loved having you as a guest, Simon, a guest co-host. So I really want to say thank you so much for coming on and just totally hanging out with me for this hour and a half and asking some really, really great questions. This is my first time with a male co-host, so I don't know how did you think it went?
Are you asking me or the audience?
I'm asking you.
I think it's a balance. I think certain topics may not be probably the best for a male co-host, and other topics is great. I think it went smoothly. Yeah, and I think I love the way that when you asked that question or you gave the scenario, I looked at it from a totally different way, whether it is a gender difference or just a people difference. But it was like we covered both angles from the way we looked at it, and the audience gets that wider view, which is the ultimate goal.
Absolutely. I just think it's important to have those two different perspectives. And I thought it would be fun to mix it up and have some guys hosting with me to just see how we differ as men and women and the way we're going to look at these things. So that's a really good point that you brought up. And I just absolutely loved having your input and your perspective on Hot Topics Live today.
You're welcome.
Well, I want to say to everyone, if you liked Simon as my guest co-host, please drop me a message. You can direct message me on Hot Topics Live or on our Instagram at Hot Topics the Podcast, or my personal one at Creativity, and let me know, and I will have him back again. So I had a lot of fun, and if you liked him, then I suggest you check out his podcasts, where you can find them anywhere you listen to podcasts. And you can also follow Simon on Instagram. And really, you got to hear some of those stories. It's just so unique, and such a unique show. I absolutely love it. So really, Simon, thank you so much for coming. And I just, Diana says she thinks it was a good balance. So thank you for that feedback, Diana. I appreciate you, girl.
Thank you, Diana.
Yes. Oh, and Carla turned up. So shout out to Carla. Thanks for tuning in, girl. Another one of my loves from Podcasters Unleashed, showing support. So I got to love that. No, Carla passed through a little bit earlier, which was great to see her. So shout out to Podcasters Unleashed, where Simon co-hosts as well. And what's coming up for Podcasters Unleashed, Simon?
On Monday, we're actually speaking about freedom. Are we really free in this day and age? And have we really been free over the many years to come? It's going to be very interesting. It's hosted by Howler, one of our co-hosts, with her podcast is Women with Stories. And it's 7 p.m. British Standard Time and 2 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. And if you have any African listeners or viewers, I should say, it's 9 p.m. East African time. So, yeah.
Nice. Well, that is one I'll have to put on my calendar. Now, typically, I am booked full on Mondays, but I am on a little bit of a vacation mode from London Real at the moment, and before the next course starts. And so I actually have some free time, and I'm filling it with other things and self-care. So I might be able to catch that episode. It sounds like a good one. So I want to say thank you again, Simon, for being a guest. I really appreciate you. And it seems like everyone watching really appreciated you as well.
Okay. Well, thanks a lot for having me. And well, maybe I look forward to doing it again then.
That's right. We'll see what the people say.
Yeah.
I'm sure I'll have you back, Simon. So with that, I think we're going to wrap it up. I want to say thank you for everyone who tuned in today. If you have made it this far in the episode, then you are part of our tribe, our soul family here at Hot Topics Live. So do follow me at Creativity is my personal one, where I give a lot of success tips. I sometimes write some microblogs. I share my modeling photos. I do cool stuff on there. I share what's up with me at Hot Topics the Podcast. Of course, it's all about this show, which you can also listen to in podcast form anywhere you listen to podcasts. And my other hustle at the Female Veterans Podcast is on Instagram as well. If you are a female veteran or know one, or just a woman or man who's interested in what happens to women who serve in the military, then that's the podcast for you. So check that out. And I'll keep you posted on what's happening with Women Warrior Stories. It's been up and down and all over the place. It's been quite an adventure working with a network. I don't know if I like it, you guys, but we'll see what happens. Anyway, and all my other projects. So again, thanks, Carla. You're so loved. And thank you all for tuning in. I will be back next week on Wednesday. So I'm coming back next week on Wednesday. I have another amazing guest for you, another incredible, talented guest co-host, which will be revealed next week. And I appreciate you and I love you. So I will see you next time. Okay, have a great rest of your day and see you next week.